on many levels every day. And the prayer that Ryan just read was all about creation. Now, creation happens every day. We're not always conscious about it, but I guess 13 years ago, was it?
Yes.
Suddenly creation had a totally different meaning, right? Something that we take for granted, and suddenly the miracle of life was, you don't know how other people came into the world, but suddenly when it's your child, it's absolutely amazing. And not that the rabbis expect us to experience every day like that of creation, but the power of creation, and the work and the investment in it. That's what they want us to think about. And then that's more of a universal idea. And then the rabbis say, okay, so creation is one thing we have to be grateful for. And the next piece is about Torah. Okay, and what Torah is more than anything about is about the boundaries of our life. One thing I think we know is parents and children and people who work in the world, boundaries are important, right? No boundaries, and that's one of, I think, the genius of Judaism. It was about, you say laws and it sounds pretty cold, but about figuring out the boundaries of life and how do we live and how do we live in the life that's meaningful. That's what Torah is about. And so we have a prayer of being grateful for Torah on page 7. Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla Gedola V'Tera, Chamarta Leinu, Ba'avor Avotenu, Ve'imotenu, Shebachu Becha, Avinu Malkeinu, ותלמדכו כחיים, כן תכוננו תלמדנו, אבינו אב המרחם רחם עלינו, ותן בלבנו להבין, להשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמוע ולעשות, ולקיים כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה, והעננו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבנו לאהבה ולרע את שמך, ולא נבוש ולא ניכלם ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מעבר כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו פניות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובאנו ואחרת וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת, להודות לך יחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוקר בעם ישראל באהבה. And now it's custom for Ryan's going to take the four corners of his tallis and bring them together. And we do this customary because there's this idea that the Jews are from around the world, right? If you look at Israel, Jews coming from over 100 countries, from Kurdistan to Morocco to Ukraine to the United States, and somehow we're one. And it's also this idea that when we say Shema, what does it mean God is one? It means that on some level there's an understanding that everything is connected. We don't always see that. And a lot of times there is the missing puzzle piece. But once in a while you do have that aha moment where, oh, everything I did, all the logistics is coming together. That it does make sense. It's maybe for us who grew up with the Twilight Zone, it's that do, where you say, wow, this actually makes sense. And that's this idea that God is a chad, God is one, somehow life is connected. We turn to page 8.
Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Mahuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nefshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anohi mitzvah hayom al levavecha v'shinantam leveinecha v'dibartam bam beshivteha beveteha uvilchatha vaderach ushashbeha ufnumaha ukshartam leot al yadeha vehayu letotafo beineneha uchtavtam al mezuzot beteha ufshinaha uvishaleha.
We turn to the Amidah on page 9, and there's a great line in the Amidah, in this central prayer. It says, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu. Okay? And what does that mean? Our God and the God of our mothers and fathers? Well, it's nice that we have generations here. For Ryan, what the tradition meant to your parents and what it meant to your grandparents, and now it's up to you to figure out how am I going to understand the Jewish people? How am I going to understand the land of Israel? How am I going to understand the Torah of Israel? Of these three different parts of our identity, and there's this nice idea of we say, we are Israel. What does it mean to be the people of Israel? Yisrael. Yisra means to struggle, and El means God. Okay, so we don't give we have far more questions you'll be coming away with than answers. And that's really what it's about. We are the ones who look at this text and we struggle with what God wants from us. There's a nice line from a teacher, Joseph Soloveitchik, who was a rabbi in New York, who said, the religious life doesn't lead to paradise. It leads to paradox. So it's not necessarily about getting all the answers at this time, but it's formulating the questions as you go on. And that's a lot about what the Amidah is about this prayer, about what your grandparents or great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents who are reading the same prayer. Okay? That's amazing. And the prayers go back to here. This is the source. Okay? And now, Ryan, in 2011, on your own terms, and from where you're going to come, you're going to be part of that 2,000-year-old conversation. And you're going to add to that conversation. And that's what it's so much about. I ask you to rise, and again we face Jerusalem, which has always been the center. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Gadol Hagidor Hamavah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Gula Livnei Bneihem Lema Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, V'ezrat Sarah. Page 10. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh kol Tavav L'Hoshia, Mashviv HaRuach U'Mori HaGashem, Mechaker Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayim HaKol V'Rachamim Rabim Tzomech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim U'Matzir Asorim U'Mekayim Emunato L'Shenei Afar Michamocha מצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי העול. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמם הרום. ככתוב היד ידיך וקרא זר ימה. קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ודברי קודשך כתוב לאמור, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוקי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We continue silently on page 12 until page 18.
Ata
שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. בכינו יוצאנו כולנו כאחד, באור פניך כי באור פניך נתת לנו. אדוני אלוהינו תורת חיים ואהבת חסד, וצדקה ברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. טוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל